You're busy. Windy died.
Hey guys, welcome to the show. Today we're checking out the S24 Ultra. Now I do have an S23 Ultra and I am upgrading to the S24 Ultra, and it's mainly because now is there a difference between the S24 and S23 that you'd notice? No, there is no difference whatsoever. I mean, technically the GPU is faster, 50% faster in my performance tests over here. The CPU is like 10-15% faster. Regarding benchmarks, everyone loves this. So 3D Mark's pretty cool. You don't need to do any of the tests yourself. So you're getting about a 25% uplift. And both these devices, they are going to be on power saving. I'm going to run it on power saving because, I mean, if you don't use power saving, you're going to be very, very limited. You have to be living right next to a charger all your life. So if you actually want to use the phone, you need to use power saving. So I'll let that run. We are getting a nice edge when it comes to graphics. So if you're doing some mining or anything like that, you're going to really enjoy this. But I mean, generally using it, you ain't going to notice the difference. Interestingly enough, this S23 Ultra seems to be like the golden child, like 8,000, where typically it's 6,000. So maybe running it, I guess I've got airplane mode on, and maybe running it in performance, sorry, battery saving mode, it runs a little bit faster. That's mental. And CPU, as you can see, it's an improvement, don't get me wrong. It's nice, it's like an Intel improvement. Will you notice that difference? You probably wouldn't, because these phones are fast enough as it is for most of the applications. You're just scrolling on these phones. What you do on these phones that require that performance, and once you hit that performance, you're just eating up into the battery. Now, the battery levels on these phones, they probably have improved. I can't really do a comparison on these because this is a year worn-in battery with a non-year worn-in battery. But what I always do is with these phones, I put it on maximum battery protection mode, which means I put it on power saving mode, which limits the CPU to 70%, turns off 5G and all that kind of nonsense. And you can, on the S24, limit your battery charging to only 80%, which means it's going to extend the life of your battery. So you won't have to service it or change it up every single year. In device care, is if you click on battery, you get different protection modes. So there's basic, which means if you are 100% and you unplug the charger and then plug it back in, it won't recharge it until it drops down to 95%. There's adaptive. It's going to charge the battery up at nighttime when you get back to sleep, but during the day it's gonna not do so much depending on your usage patterns. Me, I go to maximum, which limits the battery charging to 80%, which makes the battery last longer, not during the day, but you know, it will last a few more years rather than require replacement straight away. Previously on the S23, it only had one option and it would only charge the battery up to 85%. I don't know why they dropped it down to 80%. I would rather had 85%, but if 80% is better for me than 85%, then I'm okay with that. But over on my S23, which I've been using for about 6 months, device care, battery information, there's no warning on the battery. So when I tend to always use battery protection, I get the battery to last a little bit longer. Helps with reselling, and servicing these guys is always a challenge. You know, you need to go somewhere reputable. If you go to someone reputable, they're going to charge you a lot of money. And if you don't go to someone reputable, they're going to put a dodgy battery in there, and there's lots of risks with that. One thing that's good about the S24 is that, you know, it's a similar price as the S23, and you do have a newer phone. There are different features. I say different because they're not necessarily better features in my opinion, but there are improvements here and there. And essentially, you know, it's good. In other markets, I mean, if you go to a 2023 drill with a 2024 drill, you're not really going to be getting any difference whatsoever, are you? And the price is the same. So this is mobile phones. They've become now commodity. Nothing's really changing. And it's a shame because at least back in the day, the cameras used to improve. Here, we've gone from having a 10x zoom camera to a 5x zoom camera. I don't know why they've done that. I like zooming in. I like super zooming without having to carry the big bulky cameras. So you've lost that feature there. Yo. This is a sound and video test. I guess nothing has really changed here. But let's switch over now to the front. So as you can see, my pool is insanely green. My pool pump bust on me when we had a tornado, and I've just replaced it myself. This is the new pump that I installed. As you can see, it's running on quiet mode, and I'm currently backfilling all the soil. It is a bit of a mess over here. Enough. I don't know how I did it, but I'm going to switch to ultrawide to explain the situation. I actually moved the big pool heater and the pool filter to do this because I needed to get a bit more width. So it was a bit of an impossible task. With the filter, it is a lot easier. If you do need to do this, there's a little drain down there. So if you just spend an hour emptying out the water in the drain, it makes it still hard to do, but it makes it slightly easier. So yeah, it was a tough job to get it done, but now in this wind, this is what you want to hear. Has the microphone actually improved? You want to hear, has the microphone actually improved? We're going to find out, but in this wind, we're going to go out over to the pontoon. So this is the 20x zoom on the S23 Ultra. So there's a nice bow rider over there, 20x zoom, that's all you're gonna get. One thing I did notice when taking a photo at 100x, the S24 struggled to focus. It kept on getting blurry. City, the S23 I snapped it first time. S24 I took several snaps, and even the best snap I could take was nowhere near as good quality. There are some features on the S24 that the S23 doesn't exist, and that is artificial intelligence. So when it comes to artificial intelligence, you can do some cool stuff like real-time translation and interpreter. So you swipe down twice and scroll to the right, and there's interpreter. 大家好，欢迎读跟记住。
Plan on the warbler. Just do more.
So it's kind of like Google Translate, just out of the box. It does give you the option to process data only on device, except the coolest feature, the photo editor, that one requires you to upload your photos to Samsung. They say they don't store the data, but you know, do you trust it? For example, this picture here, look at it, it's beautiful. I can just crop it in, but I see someone's booty sticking on the side here. Maybe I could use AI to make him disappear. You go click on edit, you go to magic of AI, you can't process it on device, so that's a shame. Maybe in S25 or S30 or, you know. If you do want to edit the photos, you still need to upload your photos to Samsung for them to process it. They say they don't store your photos, but you know, they process it over there. So it's not really an S24 thing for that. And you do get live translating phone calls. I had some mixed results with that. It was fun. 你好吗?
You're busy.
你好吗?
You want one.
你好吗?
What are you doing?
你好吗? What is this?
You're busy. Windy died.
Gotta say, interesting, weird activities happening there. So during the actual phone call, it can translate. You miss out on some of the features, like the keypad disappears and the mute button disappears and all that kind of stuff. So you need to, it's clunky, the interface, you've got to click black and all that stuff, but it does work. And there is an interpreter, but it's kind of like what you get with Google Translate. Google Translate, you can offline download the translations and you can do that sort of thing already. So it's kind of gimmicky at this stage. Whether AI will be good for these phones, probably in the future. You won't have to type any text messages. You'll just say, hey, AI, talk to my mate. AI, and this, I don't know if that's good or bad, but that is the direction they're going.
You're busy. Windy died.
One noticeable thing that I didn't actually like about the S24 Ultra, but it's also the same as the S23 Ultra. Last time I did a test for RF radiation on the S22, it seemed to have decent levels compared to an iPhone. But these phones, both of them, they're both just as bad as an iPhone now. So when you're on 4G, yeah, it's just constantly doing some stuff. I don't know what it's doing. I've turned off location, I've turned off device scanning, I've turned off as much as I can in the settings, but the phones seem to be just constantly just communicating with something. So that's a shame. So that you're getting high RF nowadays with the S24 and S23. It could be just been an Android OS thing. Maybe in the latest Android OS, they flipped the switch to do something. So right now I am on Wi-Fi. It's got 0 on that screen there. So nothing is going on. And it's running a speed test right now. It's shot to 15 milliwatts here is the highest. I saw it when it's downloading, and when it's uploading, that's when it's going to get higher. And we got 43 milliwatts. I'm going to switch out of Wi-Fi and I'm going to go into just normal 4G. And 4G, it's shooting up to over 130 milliwatts, just doing what it's doing. It shouldn't be doing anything right now because I'm not uploading the downloading data. Yes, I've lifted it quite a bit, and we are getting 200 milliwatts up to when it's just on 4G. I dread to think what it goes to when it's on 5G. And for the record, I have everything turned off. I'm limited to 4G only. Other thing that's changed, the camera punch hole has shrunk ever so slightly. You still see it, so it's not that big of a difference to me. I've got a case with my S24. It's a white case, which makes the titanium look a lot more iPhone 5C. If you look very carefully here, the hole punch is slightly smaller right there. The actual device itself, it looks nice. It is lighter slightly, but it feels heavier. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's the weight distribution of the cameras, because the camera bumps have gotten a little bit bigger. So maybe it's a bit more, you know, top side heavy when I'm comparing it to the slightly older S23. But certainly if you're upgrading from like a Note 10 Plus, that was my go-to phone, I love that phone, then maybe the S24 is enough to justify an upgrade. But if you're an S22, S23, all that stuff, I wouldn't upgrade for the reasons that I upgraded. Ooh, that sounds good. Ooh, yeah, damage in the box, love it. And boom, shakalaka. That is it right there. The S24 Ultra Edition, is that? I thought that was something you peel off. Maybe it is. This is the black edition, and I gotta say, it looks... One thing that's interesting, even though this is the 24th edition, it's not really the 24th, but 2024 edition of this phone, they've had loads of generations of these phones. The setup process is very clunky. I mean, you're fighting Google with Samsung. They both want to upload all of your data to their clouds. They're both reproducing the same things. Now they both have the translate functions. And I kept on getting like, you need to update your privacy policy for Samsung. And then I'd hit the back button and then that screen will disappear. And I was onto a different screen. So I didn't go forward or back. I went sideways. And yeah, it was a bit clunky. And sometimes when you're doing your Samsung wallet, the screen would have some bars on the right. So the programmers didn't know how to utilize the full screen, which is a shame because it's a $1 trillion company. So they should really know, they should have ironed out this process by now. So it's a bit of a clunky interface when setting up and transferring all your data. And even when you transfer all your data, your settings, you lose out some of your settings. So you need to reset up WhatsApp, you need to reset up Viber. So when you install them based on your backed up data, I'm not saying this is a Samsung use to them, I'm just saying this is Android in general. You need to go into your privacy settings, make sure they don't have the diagnostics and telling all your mates that you're seen online, all that kind of nonsense that you get with reinstalling an app. But you do get to restore your chats. So it is a bit clunky, but once you get it up and running, what's great about Android in general is that you have the developer mode, so you can just unlock a little bit more settings. I like to just make my animation speed a little bit faster, just to make me nice and going. And I love installing. I got Firewall, NetGuard, seem to block out a lot of the spam that you get online. All of the apps try to communicate with the internet. So Android itself is still going well. Originally, Android was a bit clunky, Java, all that kind of stuff. But nowadays, with these super fast phones, it works really well. It's become a nice tool. It's a nice tool. I need some advice. What kind of apps do I need in my life? Because right now I just use the same 5. I don't really shift outside my box. All right, so that was a rundown of the S24 Ultra Edition. I gotta say, if I am upgrading, I'd be disappointing because the features, I mean, yeah. But if I was buying a new phone and I needed one and I hadn't upgraded in 3 to 4 years, then this is a great phone to get. And it's better than buying an S23 a couple of weeks ago because you got the latest, faster processor, all that kind of stuff. So I hope you guys found this video useful. Please let me know what phones are you guys looking out for. Maybe something needs to come in. Maybe they just need to go back to improving the cameras. Why have they not improved the cameras? Improve the cameras. iPhone's like nice. Make it better than the iPhone. I like cameras. Have a camera add-on module so I can take professional, maybe on. Yeah, but everyone I know, they use their photos. They always take pictures. My mom loves taking pictures. Everyone loves taking pictures. And on the phones, it's so convenient. Go back to improving your cameras and focus on that. Maybe. Hope you guys found this video useful and enjoyed the show.
You're busy. Wendy died.